Hi everyone, today we are going to study the topic known as perception. So here first I would like to quote one sentence is, we don't see the things as they are, we see the things as we are. Perception is the thinking of a mind when we think about a particular person or an object as soon as the object or a person visualize in front of us. Perception is a process in which we organize and select information through our sensory organ and understand the world around us. Now, stimuli is a process in which we gather information through our sensory organs, that is eyes, ears, nose, face, tongue. So, whatever information we think about, we think from the help of the sensory organs, which gathers information like stimuli. Now, stimuli is internal and external. External stimuli are the sound waves and internal is a way of thinking of that external stimuli. Now we will understand the determinants of perception. So first is the characteristics of the perceived. Now perceived is a person or an object in which we will show the stimuli and the respondent is known as the perceived. So the first characteristic of the perceived is the size. The larger the size of the stimuli, the more is likely to be perceived. For example, in the newspaper, the larger the size of the advertisement, the more likely to get the attention of it as compared to the smaller one. We can see into our day-to-day example, the hoardings get more attention on the roads because the size of the advertisement is big. The next characteristic is intensity. The louder the intensity is, the more it gets the attention. For example, lights, sound, etc. So, when the boss talks to an employee and he is very angry and he shouts at him, the employee may pay the more attention to the words because now the boss is in the angry state and his voice is a little bit high. Now, next characteristic is contrast. When I talk about contrast, I mean to say something which I noticed, which is unique or which is different from the others. For example, all are wearing formals in the organization and one particular employee is coming in a jeans and t-shirt. So the more attention will go on that particular employee because he is having something contrast or unique, because all are similar, only he is the personality who's wearing something else. Now we will talk about the another characteristics, that is novelty. Novelty is nothing but something new to us. For example, whenever you join in an organization as an employee, you get more attention from the other employees because you are the new personality or new team which has recently joined the organization and people try to know you more for that. Another characteristic is motions. When I talk about motions, the moving object requires more attention or gets more attention as compared to the stationary object. We have always observed in the website of the newspaper also there is a pop-up always coming and our attention goes there even if we are reading something very important. That is motion object because we are giving those attention to that pop-up because they are structured in that way. Now we will talk about another topic, that's characteristics of the perceiver. Under that, the first one is motive. What is the motive behind a particular object or personality through which I want to get the information? For example, a person who is searching for the job will take the employment news as his motive for searching job and getting new opportunities. His motive is to search job. The next point is interest. Our attention goes where our interest is and we gain information according to our interest. For example, if your car is not working well, go to the car mechanic and his interest would be seeing the machine and knowing what is wrong with the machine, whether pay attention to something else. Earlier example where I talked about the person searching for the job, his interest is to find the opportunity, so he will leave all rest things and just focus on what he wants from that particular newspaper. Expectation regarding a particular information. For example, a person waiting for an important call will have expectation regarding the call and the information, so he will concentrate on his own way rather than the noise around him. Personality plays a very important role in perception. Personality determines how the person is. For example, the attention of the extrovert person will be more on the communication of an employee because he wants to strengthen the interpersonal communication between the employees. The next point is attitude. Now, attitude may be positive or a negative attitude. That depends on the situation and the person respond to it. So, attitude plays a very important role in perception. For example, if you meet a person who creates problem in the organization. And once he had a meeting with the manager will think now there is something conflict situation will arise because his attitude towards that person is negative. But that not might be the case. He might have only gone through a casual way. So attitude plays a very important role to presume. So past experience has a very important role in perception or the personality of the person, because your past experience might be good or bad will have influence on your behavior, and you started presuming things according to it. For example, in the past organization you have a bad boss, so your perception towards the boss will be like all the bosses in the world are bad, but that not may be the case. So the person who is recruited in the another organization will be very suspicious about feeling of peace because he has experienced something bad in the past, so he will be more careful about his behavior in the present. Now we will talk about characteristics of situation. Now situation is nothing but the surrounding which happens or the events which happens in the life. For example, if a woman who is perfectly dressed or wearing so much of ornaments on her neck and all, so that perception will be like she is going to somebody's marriage or there is some function. So that is situation perception. Okay, so it will differ from one situation to another situation. For example, a person who is wearing a formal dress will be presumed that he is going to his office or some meeting which is very important. So that is situational perception. We think, we presume, and then we observe, and then we come to the conclusion. Now we will talk about attribution theory or Hartman theory. We will talk about attribution theory. Attribution theory suggests that individual behavior is observed by personal factor which is internal or the situational factor which is external, and we will understand through three parameters. First is consistency. When I talk about consistency, it means a regular behavior which a person behaves in every situation. इसका मतलब ये है कि आप एक ही तरह का बर्ताव हर सिचुएशन में कर रहे हैं, हर परिस्थितियों में कर रहे हैं, तो वो आपका जो अनुभव है वो स्थिर है। इसका मतलब आप किसी प्रकार के इंसान हैं। अब ये हो सकता है कि आप ज्यादा गुस्से वाले हो या बहुत काम हो या फिर आप बहुत एक्टिव रहते हो, बहुत अलर्ट रहते हो, आप सोल्यूशन के साथ बाहर आते हो। So those are consistent behavior which you behave in a similar manner in every situation of your life. The second part of the theory states that distinctiveness. It means a person will behave in another manner according to the situation. आप परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से अपना निर्णय चेंज करते हैं और अपने आप को साबित करने के लिए डिसीजन लेते हैं। इसे बोलते हैं अजाइल या फ्लेक्सिबल। डिस्टिंक्टिवनेस जितना लो होता है मतलब अगर आप अजाइल नहीं है और जितना हाई होता है इसका मतलब आप अजाइल हैं। The next part of the theory states that consensus is nothing but what others think and you behave in a similar manner according to it. आप जिस तरीके से बर्ताव कर रहे हैं, किसी और ने आपके बारे में वही अनुभव पहले भी किया है और वो अपने दिमाग में ये सोच लेते हैं कि आप इस परिस्थिति में यही निर्णय लेंगे और आप उसी प्रकार का रिएक्शन या रिस्पॉन्ड उस सिचुएशन को करते हैं। इसे कंसेंसस कहते हैं। किसी ने पहले से आपके बारे में ये जजमेंट की थी कि इस परिस्थितियों में आप यही निर्णय ले सकते हैं। Now we will talk about errors in perception. After that, the first one is halo effect. Now halo effect is nothing but we see the things as it is appearing. For example, if a person's personality is very good and attractive in the physical reality, but we think that the person is more likable, easy to communicate with, very friendly nature, but that might not be the case. This is a wrong understanding and wrong perception about that person only because that person is good. On the other hand, if we find that person is very stubborn, okay, now he is not physically good looking, but he is stubborn while behaving with you. We think that he is always stubborn in the nature, but that not might be the case because that situation has made him stubborn, but that person individually might be good also. Second error is stereotype thinking. When I talk about stereotype thinking, इसका मतलब ये है पुराने जमाने के ख्यालाती वाले लोग जो अपनी वो सोच समझ लेते हैं जो उन्हें पहले से सिखाई गई है। पर दुनिया बदलने के अनुसार हमें हमारी सोच भी बदलनी पड़ती है। अगर आज से 20 साल पहले की सोच में अभी लेके चलूं तो नहीं हो सकता। उसे स्टेरियोटाइप थिंकिंग कहते हैं। आपने अपने ख्याल, अपने विचार में कोई बदलाव नहीं लाया है। जिस तरीके से हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, जिस तरीके से पूरी दुनिया एजुकेटेड हो रही है, लिटरेसी रेट बढ़ रहा है, हमें अपने आप को फ्लेक्सिबल रखना पड़ता है विचारों में। जो व्यक्ति ये नहीं कर पाता उसे स्टेरियोटाइप थिंकिंग वाला व्यक्ति कहा जाता है, जो भेदभाव कर सकता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मेन एंड वुमेन, ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट, रिलीजन रिलेटेड कुछ बातें, ये सब स्टेरियोटाइप थिंकिंग से उत्पन्न होती है और इससे ही कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बढ़ते हैं। नेक्स्ट इज projection. Now, when I talk about projection, is the motive that we see the people according to our thinking and our projection, our motive, our emotion. For example, अगर कोई कंपनी बंद होने वाली है तो मेरे ख्याल ऐसे होंगे, अगर ये कंपनी बंद हो गई तो इसका क्या नफा या नुकसान होगा, इसका क्या अर्थ होगा, इसका क्या अर्थशास्त्र पे इफेक्ट होगा। तो मेरे प्रोजेक्शन उस तरीके से काम करने लगते हैं, मैं चीजें उस तरीके से सोचने लगती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे एक न्यूज मिली है कि ये कंपनी बंद होगा। ऑन द अदर हैंड, जब मैं मैनेजर की बात करूँ, देखो मैनेजर इज ऑफ गुड पर्सनालिटी, हार्ड वर्किंग, वेरी इन्फ्लुएंशियल, वी विल थिंक दैट माय सबऑर्डिनेट्स आर आल्सो लाइक दैट, बिकॉज़ वो अपने महत्व की चीजें दूसरों में ढूंढने लगते हैं। मुझे लगता है मैं जैसा हूँ वैसे ही दूसरे भी होंगे और उसी प्रकार से उनके साथ बिहेव करते हैं। नाउ वी विल टॉक अबाउट द अनदर एरर दैट इज नोन एज contrast effect. When I talk about contrast effect, it is basically I am evaluating the performance of one individual according to the performance of another individual. For example, in an interview round, once you enter the interview round, we start getting judged by another person. For example, if an interview of a first person, person A, is done before you and you are the person B, so you will be judged according to person A's personality or the performance, and then you will be rated accordingly. आपसे पहले जो व्यक्ति आया है उसने अपने इंटरव्यू में कैसे प्रभाव डाला है, उसके ऊपर से आपके प्रभाव को जज किया जाता है, दैट इज कॉन्ट्रास्ट इफेक्ट, और उसके हिसाब से आपको रेटिंग दी जाती है कि आपको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में लेना है कि नहीं लेना। नेक्स्ट एरर इज एक्सपेक्टेंसी इफेक्ट. व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट एक्सपेक्टेंसी इफेक्ट, इट मींस अ पर्सन हैज एन एक्सपेक्टेशन अबाउट यू एंड सिमिलरली यू हैव टू बी विद दैट लाइक दैट. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आप इंटरव्यू में सिलेक्ट हो जाते हैं और आपको रिक्रूट किया जाता है और अपने मैनेजर को ये बताया जाता है एचआर से कि आप बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हैं, मतलब आप किसी भी सिचुएशन को अपने हिसाब से अजाइल तरीके से, फ्लेक्सिबल तरीके से हैंडल कर सकते हैं, तो आपके मैनेजर आपको उसी तरीके के काम सौंपेंगे जिसमें आपको और अपॉर्चुनिटी मिले और अनुभव मिले ताकि आप उस सिचुएशन से निखर आओ और बहुत अच्छा मैनेजर बनो. Understand perception and its effect on the organization. How perception plays an important role in employees' life once you are recruited, and how an organization plays an important role in evaluating the performance of the employee. So here comes the first point is performance appraisal. When I talk about performance appraisal, it means the evaluation done by the managers or the team leaders of a particular employee and his work. Performance appraisal is a process in which your performance of the entire year is evaluated, and according to it you are given the performance appraisal reward. That might be increase in the payment, that might be your promotion, that might be transfer in some another department where you have new opportunity of learning as well as upbringing yourself. That might be somewhere shifting to another department or shifting to new office of the organization that you can handle the team of 8 or 10 people. So performance appraisal plays a very important role in the life of an employee, and every year to year basis your performance is evaluated and you are trained accordingly. So perception plays an important role in performance appraisal, because if a perception is good about you, it means you what they have judged about you are behaving in a similar manner, so your performance appraisal will be high. But if another case would be if you don't behave in the same manner, then there might be some increase of training which you have to go through, because there is a necessity of the training for yourself. Next point is employment interview. When I talk about interview, it plays a very important role in human life. Whether it is a student, whether it is a fresher, whether it is an experienced person, whether it is a professor, interview plays a very important role in each and everybody's life in this world. Because interview is the system in which you are judged based on your knowledge, your skills, your attitude towards the situation, how you respond to them. Everything depends on the interview and you get the opportunity. Now your interview plays a very important role because perception is there. Now perception starts once you start entering the interview round. Once you enter the interview table, you greet that person, they start thinking about you. How you greeted them, how you behaved to them, what is your attitude towards the job, how you are responding to a situation, how you are answering the questions. All this gives a perception. Initially the perception is little bit low, but as soon as the communication get increased, the perception start changing and the people start having the information which is genuine from yourself. So always try to make an impact and impression on the another person whenever you go to the interview. The next point is corporate image. Once when you go through the interview, you learn about the organization where you are going. Okay, so you have to gather the information about the organization where you want yourself to be an employee. So that is a corporate image which will have an impact on you. The corporate image for every organization plays a very important role because corporate image will help you to understand the organization structure better, as well as you will be more loving towards the organization because you belong to that organization. Every organization tends to make their corporate image as flexible, as transparent because they want more talented people in their organization. Here I want to see the example of Tata Groups, Google, Facebook, IKEA, and there are many more companies who always try to maintain their corporate image. For that case, Starbucks also, who value their employees much more than their profits. So those are things which an organization want to improve and always establish in the world around us.